Massive protests have broken out in Chandigarh. These are lawyers who are protesting against FIRs being filed against their colleagues after a clash with the police last month. During the clash, some policemen were beaten up by lawyers. The police then registered FIRs against some lawyers, and you're looking at these pictures that we're bringing to you from Chandigarh. Lawyers and the police once again clashing. Police have set up barricades. Lawyers are trying to breach that. Headlines today's Manaman Singh China joins me for the latest. Manaman, take it away. We looking at pictures of a barricade that the lawyers are trying to breach at Chandigarh.
Well, Gaurav, these lawyers have been protesting against the police after an FIR was registered against a group of advocates of Punjab and Haryana High Court for beating up a police constable and ransacking the police post at Punjab and Haryana High Court. Now, after the registration of the FIR, they wanted to march to the Raj Bhavan and give a memorandum to the governor. This entire area through which they wanted to march is covered under section 144, which does not allow for assembly of so many persons, and which they violated, and the police stopped them with water cannons.
Okay, is a middle ground being found to pacify the lawyers? What is it that they're demanding now that an FIR has been registered?
Gaurav, one of the senior lawyers, a former Additional Advocate General of Punjab, had been slapped by a police constable who was posted at one of the gates of the High Court after he got into an altercation with him, following which the constable was in turn bashed by a group of lawyers and the police post ransacked. Now the police has registered an FIR against the lawyers. So the lawyers are protesting, saying that they are the ones who are the victims and they just retaliated.
And you're looking at these pictures of police using water cannons to push the lawyers back. The lawyers say that they are victims of police brutality. We'll also get you pictures of lawyers protesting in Jaipur. That's the other story that we're tracking here on Headlines today. But before we do that, Manaman, have the lawyers, instead of taking to the streets, why aren't they going to court? They are law officers. They know the law. Why aren't they moving court against the police?
Well, Gaurav, this is not the first time that lawyers have gone out of hand in Chandigarh. In one incident in the lower courts, in the district courts, they virtually ransacked the court of the judge, climbing on top of the table of the judge and beating up a constable who was inside the court. So if they could do that inside a courtroom, you can well imagine what can be done outside. Their unruliness has a pattern to it.
Okay, so little sympathy for lawyers as they protest. The pictures that we are seeing just now are of water cannons being used to push lawyers back. No unruly behavior so far. Situation in control.
No unruly behavior, absolutely, Gaurav. They are marching. They were trying to march towards the Raj Bhavan. They were stopped at the barricades and they were forced to disperse after using water cannons. No retaliation as of now from the lawyers.
Okay, stay on with me, Manaman. And just as we were telling our viewers a short while back, lawyers clashing with the police in Jaipur and in Chandigarh. You're looking at pictures of lawyers clashing with the police in Jaipur. You just saw an incident where these are Rajasthan policemen clashing with lawyers. Pratik Kasliwal now joins me on the phone line. He's one of the protesting lawyers. Pratik Kasliwal, lawyers are law officers. If they clash with the police on the streets, two questions. Why did this clash take place today? What's the reason?
See, as far as reason is concerned, this demand which the lawyers have been raising is going on since last half decade. So government is not doing anything for the lawyers' demand. And nobody initiates violence unless it has been instigated by somebody. The police and the government is very careless, hard-hearted towards the lawyers, and as a result of this has been taken place.
Yes, law officers clashing with the police the way they are. You know the law better than anyone else. Why not approach the court and let courts decide?
Certainly, courts are there for if there is any dispute, but here there is no dispute. There is some demand from the government. And for the demand, we can't approach the court. It is the state who has to give us against the demand. And there was a silent protest from the lawyers at the Vidhan Sabha. It turned to be violent because of the police having a very careless attitude towards lawyers.
But look at the impression, Mr. Kasliwal, that goes out. You're looking at clashes that are taking place in Chandigarh, lawyers breaching barricades, lawyers being lathi charged or water cannons being used, and similar pictures that are coming out from Jaipur.
Certainly, as far as this thing is concerned, the law officers should not take law in hand. For that matter, nobody should take in hand. But it is not that at their own instance they've been taking. They've been provoked to take that. And it is more of, you can say, a defense mechanism which has been adopted by lawyers rather than proactively thrashing or doing violence.
Okay. Now, after these clashes, what is it that the lawyers intend to do?
Certainly, if government doesn't go with the demands of the lawyers, then lawyers will protest with this, and the strike may go on. And hopefully, it will be a declaration that the strike will go on unless government succumbs to the pressure.
Once again, for the benefit of viewers who are joining us now, Mr. Kasliwal, what is the issue at hand here? Why are lawyers protesting in Jaipur?
There are many issues, around 13 issues are there, but namely one of the major issues that they said, other people have been given granted residential areas and demarcated residential areas. Why not for the lawyers? And government earlier promised that there should be a stipend given to the lawyers, those who have enrolled and have a practice of 5 years. Nothing has been done on that front. No, government promised the funds would be diverted. Nothing has been done on that front. So there are so many issues that the government is taking a very apathetic view towards the lawyers.
Okay, if lawyers take to the streets like they are, whether it's in Chandigarh or in Jaipur, how will the Aam Aadmi learn a better lesson, Mr. Kasliwal?
No, certainly this is not a thing where a lesson has to be learned by an Aam Aadmi, what you say. But at the same time, in a democratic setup, one has to learn that for your demands, you have to fight. And it is for the people.
Okay, Mr. Kasliwal, I'll interrupt for a moment. Let's listen into protesting lawyers at Chandigarh.
Yeah.
Go on, Mr. Kasliwal, you were telling us your list of demands. Lawyers want a stipend, lawyers want better residential premises. Better residential premises compared to who?
It is not the comparison. As far as the professionals are concerned, the other professionals are being given these kind of benefits and facilities. So why not for lawyers?
Professionals like who?
Doctors have been, there are colonies demarcated for the lawyer, for the doctors, for the journalists. In Jaipur, there is a Patrakar colony. In other cities also, they are there for other professionals. So why not for lawyers?
Is it justified? Is it justified? Once again, let's try and listen into lawyers in Jaipur.
इन्होंने हमारे पे लाठीचार्ज किया, हम शांति मार्च कर रहे थे, उसके बाद सज्जन सुना जी के लगी है, हमारे एक भाई क्या लगी है, हमारे वकील। मैं मीडिया से कहना चाहता हूँ कि जिस तरीके से पुलिस ने इन हत्या वकीलों पर लाठीचार्ज किया है, हम सारे वकील उसकी निंदा करते हैं और हम मांग करते हैं सरकार से।
Pratik Kasliwal, one of the protesting lawyers, still with us. Mr. Kasliwal, how justified is it on your part or on the part of your community to protest on the streets the way you are? What impression will it go out? Why not a protest which is far more, which is peaceful, which is organized, which does not disrupt the normal life? If lawyers do this, what about Aam Aadmi or illiterate people, Mr. Kasliwal?
As far as you think that it is impressing upon somebody is not an issue. The march was absolutely peaceful. The assembling of the lawyers, everything was decided. It will be peaceful. As you could hear from the noise, that there has been lathi charge from the police. So it is equally that one has to not exactly retaliate, but at the same time, one has to do something in defense. You've been hearing voice of the lawyers from Jaipur that there has been a lathi charge which has been done from police. So why the police, why the state has adopting such a meme? Why can't state sit
Mr.
around
Kasliwal, you know the law. In case the state police, in case the police is resorting to lathi charge, should you not haul up the police in a court of law? Haul up the police, haul up the DGP. Why disrupt life of the Aam Aadmi on the streets, whether it's Chandigarh or Jaipur?
It is not disrupting the rights. As far as why you were saying again that being a lawyer or a law officer, nothing has been done in violation to that. But at first instance, we are citizens of this country. We have a right to protest in terms of where our demands are not being fulfilled. And it was never violative of any of those things or disrupting the peace. But if the state adopts such a mechanism to thrash the lawyers, then certainly this is just a defense mechanism. A lathi charge being there, you can't straight away run to the court that protect us. On the streets, there has to be a reply there and then. And it is not that we have got into some violence from our own instance. It is the police, it is the state authorities, those who have made this complete chaos.
Okay, Mr. Kasliwal, stay on with me. In Chandigarh, lawyers actually thrashed policemen, and that's the bigger issue that I'm raising here on the show. Lawyers versus police, both officers of the law. If officers of the law clash the way they will, where will the Aam Aadmi go? That's the question I'm asking. Let me bring in headlines today's Manaman Sinchina for more on the story. Manaman, in Chandigarh, the entire issue started after police alleged that a lawyer actually thrashed them. Okay, we've lost that phone line with Manaman Sinchina. We'll try and reestablish that. Mr. Kasliwal still with me. Let me bring in headlines today's Dev Ankur Vadhavan for more on this. Dev, what's the latest?
Well, Gaurav, as far as my information goes, there are several lawyers who have landed up at the Swai Mansingh Hospital in Jaipur after the clash that happened, in which the task force went after the lawyers when they were trying to agitate at the state assembly. They wanted some of their demands to be addressed by the state government. That included the demand for a residential colony, the demand for creating a welfare fund. But we also do know for a fact that the lawyers were not a passive lot. There were some aggressive elements also within the people who were the lawyers who were trying to agitate out there. And after the things went out of hand, the state task force, the police out there had to resort to a lathi charge, which ultimately resulted to several lawyers getting injured. And as I mentioned, some of them have been taken to the SMS hospital. Gaurav?